Huge news all day yesterday and this morning around the Trump administration's plan to eradicate the drug cartels, declassifying the details, some of the details surrounding the U.S. airstrike on that Venezuelan drug vessel. We have a copy of the footage. SecDef Pete Hegseth issuing a warning. This is only the beginning, he says. If you try to traffic anything into this country, into the U.S., you will be done. Mexico capitulating, agreeing to work with the U.S. to assist in this effort. The latest out of China as well. Wild footage from China's military parade yesterday. We'll look at that and more stories as well from around the country, including an update on Epstein. Yes, we may be about to learn new information, finally.
Will you act on Venezuelan soil against the Maduro regime?
Well, this is a counter-drug operation. We're going to take on drug cartels wherever they are and wherever they're operating against the interests of the United States.
President Trump declassifying some of the operational details from Tuesday's lethal strike on Tren de Aragua. The U.S. military striking a Venezuelan cartel vessel transporting narcotics into the U.S. All 11 gang members killed in this strike. The president posting on X yesterday, on my orders, U.S. military forces conducted a kinetic strike against positively identified Tren de Aragua narco-terrorists in the South Com area of responsibility. The strike occurred while the terrorists were at sea in international waters transporting illegal narcotics heading to the U.S. The strike resulting in 11 terrorists killed in action. No U.S. forces were harmed in this strike. Please let this serve as notice to anybody even thinking about bringing drugs into the United States of America. Beware. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Included with this post was footage showing the strike being carried out. Trump releasing this footage as a warning to the cartels and cartel members. Don't you dare, don't even think about sneaking into our country or trafficking drugs or anything else across our border. SecDef Pete Hegseth delivering his own message. This was just the first of many military strikes he says we'll see in the coming weeks. That today is a new day and we know where you are, what you're doing, saying we've got incredible assets and they've begun gathering in the region. Bottom line, you do not want to be trafficking drugs right now. Watch.
I watched it live. We knew exactly who was in that boat. We knew exactly what they were doing, and we knew exactly who they represented. And that was Tren de Aragua, a narco-terrorist organization designated by the United States, trying to poison our country with illicit drugs. Last year, under the Biden administration, all 4 years, 100,000 Americans died from drug-related from drugs, from the use of drugs, many of which poured in from Central and South America through our southwest border. Now, we're sealing the border, but President Trump is willing to go on offense in ways that others have not been, and to send that clear signal to Tren de Aragua, Cartel del Sols, and others emanating from Venezuela. We're not going to allow this kind of activity. You're poisoning our people. We've got incredible assets, and they are gathering in the region. And so you want to try to traffic drugs? It's a new day. It's a different day. And so those 11 drug traffickers are no longer with us, sending a very clear signal that this is an activity the United States is not going to tolerate in our hemisphere.
The U.S. Coast Guard also seizing multiple cargo ships out of China this week, ordered and shipped to Mexico's Sinaloa cartel, seizing 700,000 pounds of precursor chemical. Precursor is what's needed, what's required to manufacture methamphetamine and fentanyl. Take a look at this. Warehouses full of precursor that's now off the street, and good riddance.
These 1,300 barrels were shipped from Shanghai, China to Mexico. We intercepted these precursors on the high seas, and now the Sinaloa cartel will not be able to use them to make methamphetamines. And the bottom line is this. Whenever there is an effort on the part of foreign terrorist organizations to create drugs that are killing Americans, we will seize them, whether it's on the high seas or whether it's in the country or a foreign country. And by the way, it's going to take 24 18-wheelers to take all of these containers and put them in a secure storage facility. And that's what we're doing in D.C., but we're doing it in Houston today. And you never know where we're going to be tomorrow.
All of this going into motion thanks to that executive order Trump signed designating the drug cartels as foreign terror organizations. What this has effectively done is reorient U.S. military intelligence in our hemisphere, Southcom specifically, to treat the cartels the same way that we do Al-Qaeda and ISIS in the Middle East. Secretary of State Marco Rubio meeting yesterday with Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum for weeks. The U.S. State Department's been putting huge pressure on Mexico, attempting to convince the Mexicans to invite the U.S. military into their country on a seek and destroy mission. The State Department sent feelers out all throughout Mexico, throughout the Mexican government, because they've refused thus far, looking for Mexican politicians, to speak out publicly in support of Trump's plan to eradicate these cartels. Well, it hasn't worked up until yesterday. Mexico agreeing finally to work with the U.S. to share intel and collaborate, they say, on this effort. Watch.
Is Secretary Rubio's third trip to Latin America as Secretary of State.
Yeah, Nicole, and it might just be his most impactful visit, too, because he just wrapped up a joint news conference with the foreign minister there where the two agreed to work more closely together when it comes to combating the criminal cartels. And that includes stopping the illicit flow of drugs and people into the United States illegally. So the two saying their joint coordination and collaboration will actually help reduce fentanyl trafficking, which is a huge problem, obviously. Rubio spoke with President Sheinbaum earlier today as well. He said it was a very productive meeting with Mexico's president, adding that he's very happy that they have reached a level of, quote, historic cooperation over the last 8 months. Sheinbaum has spoken to Trump 14 times, according to Secretary Rubio. Take a listen to what else the secretary had to say in Mexico City today.
So they were designated as what they are narco-terrorist organizations. So the same information and the same intelligence mechanisms with maybe a higher focus was used to determine that a drug boat was headed towards eventually the United States. And instead of interdicting it on the president's orders, he blew it up.
In another story, the House Oversight Committee yesterday releasing a massive dump of new Epstein files, the majority of them, though, of course, highly redacted, providing virtually no new additional insight on who Epstein's clients actually were. The story never seeming to die. Yesterday, Republican Thomas Massing holding a press conference outside the Capitol with multiple Epstein victims. The goal of this presser was to pressure at least 2 more Republicans in the House to sign on to a bipartisan discharge petition that would force a vote to release these Epstein files that DOJ has refused thus far. Massey saying, "We demand real accountability. I encourage my colleagues, over 200 Republicans who have not signed this discharge petition. We only need 2 of you to sign it." Marjorie Taylor Greene also attending and speaking at this press conference and saying if they don't end up forcing a vote because they can't get the signatures, she'll read the Epstein client list herself on the House floor. If that's the only way to get this information out without liability, she'll do it. Watch what she said. Actually, real quick, just a quick message from our friends over at Black Forest Supplements, because you know what else the elite establishment is trying to hide from all of us? Not just the Epstein information, but the truth about your body's natural ability to heal itself. I just discovered something wild out about stem cells. They're like these tiny repair crews in your body that go out and fix things that need to be fixed. Joe Rogan has been talking about this for years. Watch what he said.
I had a full-length rotator cuff tear, and the UFC gave me a doctor in Los Angeles, and he looks at my MRI and goes, "You're going to need surgery." I go, 100%? He goes, "I don't know how you're using it now. It's a matter of time. You're going to need surgery, so it might be better to do it now." So I got it shot up with stem cells. And this was the early days of stem cells in America where you could get away with more. That you got to go to Mexico now. Yeah, Tijuana, the Cellular Performance Institute, they fucking dose you. And 6 months later, I go and get an MRI. The rotator cuff tear is gone. And Dr. McGee looks at me and goes, "You know how fucking insane this is?"
Yeah, so as Rogan pointed out, most stem cell therapies are banned in the United States, not because they're unsafe, but because they work too well and they threaten big pharma profits. I mean, think about it. If you could heal yourself without pills, insurance, or endless doctor visits, who loses? The same corrupt system that's been lying to you about politics has been lying to you about your health. The FDA's crackdown, forcing people overseas, paying up to $50,000 for a single stem cell injection. But here's what most people don't know. High flavanol cocoa can naturally boost your stem cell activity. Studies show it's flavanols triggering stem cells to leave your bone marrow and enter your bloodstream like bees from a beehive. It's amazing. A Harvard scientist, Dr. William Lee, actually backing this up. Check this out.
So, studies have been done to show that the flavanols in cocoa stimulate stem cells to come out of your bone marrow like bees in a beehive in your bloodstream, and they go out and they find wherever it needs to be repaired. If it's in your heart, they'll fix it. If it's in your liver, they'll fix it. If it's in your skin, they'll fix it. And so we can eat foods like high flavanol cocoa in order to be able to actually get the stem cells to work a little bit better. Now, how do we know this actually functions, it works in people? Well, clinical studies have been done with high flavanol cocoa to show that in like men who are in their 60s with heart disease, they could actually just have 2 cups of dark chocolate hot cocoa a day for a month.
Yeah.
And they doubled the amount of stem cells in their bloodstream, and their circulation improved measurably. And then what's even more important and impressive is that there was a study called the Cosmos study that was completed recently that showed that eating high flavanol cocoa decreases the risk of cardiovascular death.
Yeah.
Right, over a period
like
of
a statin.
Like a statin.
Right.
Exactly. Except made with by eating the same thing that you use to make chocolate.
That's
so
incredible.
we're not telling people to go out to have chocolate, which is a confection. It's got a lot of sugar and all kinds of other stuff in it.
Yeah.
But it's the stuff underlying
Underneath it,
the core of it.
So that's right, dark chocolate, folks. But here's the thing, flavanols are the good stuff found in cocoa beans, but they're usually destroyed, unfortunately, during the chocolate making process. But the good news is that Black Forest Supplements has created the first ever high flavanol cocoa powder packed with everything your body actually needs, and it's only 20 calories. I mix this stuff into my coffee every morning. I just had a cup this morning, actually. I love this stuff. It tastes amazing. This isn't your average cocoa. It's a stem cell power-up. I think you're absolutely going to be blown away. Click on the link below, and for the next 48 hours only, you can get a whopping buy one, get one completely free Labor Day promo. You heard that right. Buy one, get one free. But this promo, it's just for the next 48 hours only, so don't wait. Click on the link below right now.
Why can't they just name the names? What you don't realize is they just told their stories, and in Jeffrey Epstein's home and the places they went with him, they saw the most powerful people in the world in his pictures, and they saw him with those people. Can you imagine how terrifying it would be to name names like that? These are some of the richest, most powerful people in the world that could sue these women into poverty and homelessness. Yeah, it's a scary thing to name names, but I will tell you, I'm not afraid to name names. And so if they want to give me a list, I will walk in that Capitol on the House floor and I'll say every damn name that abused these women. I can do that for them, and I'd be proud to do it.
President Trump not happy at all about this. A story he really wants to end, being asked about it yesterday, and once again, calling it a big fat Dem hoax. Watch what he said.
Mr. President, right now, there have been survivors of Jeffrey Epstein speaking at a press conference on Capitol Hill. They're calling for these case files, these documents to be released. And Thomas Massey, who is sponsoring a discharge position to get the House to vote on releasing those documents, says he doesn't believe you're implicated in these files, but many of your friends and donors may be, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow-walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president.
Let me know what you think about this. Why won't they just release the files? Is Trump right? Did the Biden DOJ and FBI purposely slip his name in there, creating a fake narrative, anticipating he'd be burned once back in office, burned by releasing it, and then burned again if he didn't release it. That's what these people do. I wouldn't put it past them. We know Trump isn't implicated, most likely, like 99% chance that he's not implicated in the Epstein case. The original attorney for the victims is on tape confirming that Trump was the only high-profile person who helped prosecute Epstein, helped him prosecute Epstein. Even CNN yesterday interviewing one of the victims, someone they thought would malign the president. Instead, what happened? She confirmed Trump isn't implicated at all.
Lisa, I appreciate you being with us, both of you being with us. You heard the president call this a Democrat hoax that never ends. What did you think when you hear that?
For me personally, it was shocking and upsetting. I couldn't believe that he said that. Just for so many years, he acknowledged that there were thousands of files and he was going to release them. And so hearing that today, I was just confused by it. I think he thought that we were targeting him, and we weren't. I don't believe there's any evidence that he abused any of the survivors. So it wasn't a target against him. It was just, a cry for us being fed up and wanting answers.
So yeah, there's something super fishy about this entire story, obviously. And Trump hates to be in this position. He wants to be the transparency president, and for whatever reason, he can't sign off on this release. And you can just tell, at least I think he can, whenever he talks about this, it just drives him crazy. Let me know what you think about this. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.